NBPA Executive Director Tamika Tremaglio. Tamika, just thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I wanted to start here, if we could. You issued a statement saying that you, quote, strongly believe that Mr. Sarver should never hold a managerial position within our league again. So to be clear, are you calling for Robert Sarver to be banned for life from the NBA?
Thank you very much. And again, thank you for having me. And absolutely, we are absolutely calling for that. We do not want him to be in a position where he is managing or engaging with individuals who are engaging with our players or our players themselves. We are absolutely clear from the findings that are in that report that we do not want him to be in that position.
So you were saying we, and you're the executive director of the NBPA. Are you speaking on behalf of players, or what is the NBPA's role in advocating for more severe actions taken against Robert Sarver beyond the one-year suspension and fine?
No, absolutely. So yes, as the executive director of the NBPA, I am speaking on behalf of our players. It is our players' desire that while we understand that there has been a thorough investigation, and we're very pleased that the NBA was able to follow through on that, because that's clearly something that we want to see happen, we also want to make it very clear that we do not want him back in a position where he will be impacting our players and those who serve our players on a daily basis.
So what conversations have you had with players, and what sentiments have they shared with you that led you to this overall conclusion that the players' position is that they would like Mr. Sarver removed?
Yeah, so I've had many conversations with our players over the last 48, 72 hours, and it is very clear after our review of the report from Wachtell Lipton, as well as the press release, that this is something that we absolutely do not condone. We in no way want him to be back in a position where he's engaging.
Tamika, have current or former players of any team recounted to you witnessing or being the targets of Mr. Sarver's behaviors? And if so, what specifics can you share?
Yes, so obviously there have been many conversations with our player. I'm not at liberty, obviously, to disclose that, but I have not had any conversations specifically as it relates to actual engagement with our players.
So we appreciate you, Tamika, being here speaking on behalf of the NBPA, but in 2 weeks, players, they're going to be holding news conferences. They're going to be asked pointed questions about Robert Sarver. We've heard from LeBron James. We've heard from Chris Paul. We're hearing from you on behalf of the players, but what conversations are you having with them about their role in responding to Commissioner Adam Silver's ruling specifically?
Yeah, so we have been very clear that our players will have their own opinions and certainly have the right to voice their own opinions. Obviously, our president, CJ McCollum, has allowed me to speak on behalf of our union in terms of what we want collectively as the players, but certainly LeBron, Chris Paul, others are absolutely in a position to opine on those things that impact them and the way in which they feel about the things that have occurred.
You also said in your statement to our Mark Spears, Tamika, that, quote, I made my position to Adam Silver regarding my thoughts on the extent of the punishment known. How open was he to yours and others' thoughts about changing the decision of it being a one-year suspension?
Yes, so thank you. I did absolutely have that conversation with Adam, and I was very clear of what our expectations are. I think, Adam has been very willing to hear me as well as hear others, and I think he's also had several conversations with our players as well. I don't know how open he is in terms of, actually wanting to make the change. I think it is our hope that it will be very clear that Mr. Sarver should not be in a position to be able to come back and be in a managerial position. I think we've heard from other owners, we've heard from sponsors, et cetera, and I think it's pretty clear that there is no expectation of him returning.
You mentioned we have heard from sponsors like PayPal. We've heard from a minority owner of the Phoenix Suns. We've heard from a former NBPA president. We've heard from arguably the face of the league in LeBron James. And yet, as we sit here today, right now, the one-year suspension is still what is in effect. Are there discussions about players boycotting games in the hopes of changing that?
We have not had those discussions as of yet. As you can imagine, just like you mentioned, we are all gearing up for a season. We have media day coming up, we have training camp about to start, and our players are really focused on playing the game of basketball and engaging with our fans. And so to some extent, there has not been any discussion around that, but I think it is very clear that our players are incredibly upset about what has occurred. Their hearts go out to the families and all of the individuals who have actually had to endure this for such a long period of time. But at the same time, they recognize that they have a job to do, and they're really excited about getting and moving forward with this season.
Tamika, thank you so much for spending a bit of time with us.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.